Hey, so hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we'll be solving a new problem, that is sum of all subsets XOR total. So in this question we have given a nums array, right? So what we have to do, we have to return the sum of all XOR total of every subset of nums. So what does that mean? So let's take, for this example, we have 1 comma 3, right? So for this example we have to take two things. The first thing is we have to take all the subsets and we have to XOR them with each other, right? So first thing is that we have to take all the subsets. So what are these subsets? So subsets are nothing that it is just an array which can be obtained by taking or deleting any middle element. So for example, this 516, so this 5 comma 1, this is a subset because either we can take or delete the element. So for example, we delete this element, so this 5 and 6, this will also be a subset. The same way, if we take 1 and 6, that will also be a subset. If we don't take 1, we take only 6, so this 6 can also be a subset because the single element can also be a subset, right? So now we know that, okay, what these subsets are. So the thing is that we have to calculate all the subsets. So for 1 comma 3, what would be the subsets? It would be 1, then 3, right? And also 1 comma 3. Okay, only these three subsets are possible for this one, so we'll XOR it. So for XORing 1, it will always give us 1. XOR of 3 would give us 3, and the XOR of 1 comma 3 would give us 2. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to add all these three elements or the values that we get from the XOR. So 1 plus 3 plus 2 would give us 6, right? So that is the answer. Okay, now take another example, that is 5 and 6. So the same way, we'll take the subsets. So we have already given some of the subsets, that okay, 5 and 6, this will be a subset. 5 1 6, this will be the subsets, right? This 5 1, that will be a subset. 5 6 would be a subset. Okay, 1 6 would be a subset, and 5 1 6 would also be a subset. Okay, so we will take the XOR of each one. So okay, 5 would give us 5. Okay, 1 6, we will keep adding that, okay, in our total result. So 5 comma 1 would give us 5 XOR 1. So 5 XOR 1 would give us 4, right? So we'll add that also, add that. 5 6, add that. 7, add that, and in the end we'll have 5 XOR 1 XOR 6, that would be 2. Okay, so this would be our result by adding all the elements. So if you think that, okay, what is this 0? So this 0 would be when we are not taking any subset, like the empty subset. This can also be a subset because we are not taking or we are deleting all the elements of the subarray. Then the empty subarray or the empty array can also be a subset. Okay, so that's the case you have to remember. Okay, so that's why we have an additional 0 here, right? So this was the problem statement. So coming to the intuition part of this question. So I think for this question, we will be using a recursion to calculate all the subsets or to get all the subsets. So they are like, if you can say that, okay, there are two conditions only, right? So if we can take this 5 or if we don't take this 5. So I'm taking this 5 1 6 array. Okay, so we have 5 1 and 6. Okay, so in that case we'll have only two conditions, that okay, if we take 5 in our subarray, if we take or we don't take that 5 in our subarray, we take 1 in our subarray, we don't take 1 in our subarray, right? And so on, right? So we'll start with, okay, so we have taken 5, so we'll take 5. I'll use a different color. Okay, so we'll take 5. Okay, we won't take 5, so that would be empty array, right? So I'll just mark these as the indexes. So this would be the 0th index, right? This would be the first index, and this would be the second index and the final index. Okay, you can consider this one as 0, okay, because this can be we can represent it as an empty array. Okay, so like that doesn't matter. Okay, we don't take anything. Okay, we'll move ahead. Okay, so we are done with 5. So we'll see that, okay, will we take 1? Okay, we'll say that, okay, we take 1. We don't take 1, so it will be, let's take it as empty. Okay, next, on the last second index, we'll take 6. Okay, we won't take 6. That will give us the empty array. Okay, after that, we'll move here. Okay, will we take 6? Let's take 6. We don't take 6. That would be empty array. Okay, so the same way, we haven't taken anything here. We haven't taken anything. I will mark it as blank. Okay, blank. So we now we'll move to the right subarray. So will we take 1? Okay, we won't take 1. We'll take 6. We won't take. We'll take 6. We won't take 6. Right? So that way we will get how many subarrays? So if we say that, okay, this 5, 3, this will give us one subarray, that would be 5, 1, 6. Right? Another one would be 5 and 1 only. These two. Right? This would be these two. Okay, 5, 1. Next one would be 5, 6. Next one, these are all done. So we'll move it this side. 1, 6. Then this will give us only 1. Right? And we forgot that we also had 5 also. So I'll add 5 here. And after that, we'll have only 6. So these are the subarrays that we will get. Okay. So if you have noticed that what we have to do in the question, we have to take the XOR of each subarray element. It means if we are getting this 5, 1, we will have to take a subarray. Sorry, XOR of it. 5 to 6, XOR of it. 1, 6, take an XOR of it. And we have to add all these values. Okay. So if you are seeing that, okay, for each element we have to take an XOR and we have to also add that. Okay, we are taking an XOR, and after that, what we are doing, we are adding them to our total sum, right? So we will do what for each level. We will say that, okay, keep XORing it, keep XORing it. So we are selecting this, XOR it. Okay, this will give us only 5. Then also keep adding, right? So I'll say that, okay, we have 5 now, keep adding, keep XORing and adding. Okay, now we have 5. This 5 will XOR with 1. Yes, it would. What we will get? We'll get 4. Right? We'll again XOR it with this value. Okay, this 4 will get XORed with 6 and so on. Okay, so what would be the base condition? So our base condition would be if our index is equal to the length of the array, right? If that's the case, we have to return the total sum. So in this case, we will get some sum. So this 4, 6 XOR 6 would give us 2. Okay, so we are adding that also. Okay, so for this result, we will save the values that, okay, it will finally return the value 2. Right? Okay, now we will move to the different one. We'll move to this one. Okay, so we have this 5 and 1. We will say that, okay, this 5 XOR will give us 4. Okay, do we have anything else? No, we don't have anything else, and the loop will return us the value of total. So what this will contain in the total, that will contain the value as 4, right? So we'll add that also, because this one return us 2, this returns 4. Okay, the same way all the subarrays will return some values, right? So we will keep adding that values in our total sum, right? And in the end, we will simply return that sum. Okay, so this is the basic intuition of it. And if I'll tell you about the code, so the code would be easier than these things. I'll quickly jump to the code. Okay, so before jumping to the code, there's two things. The first thing that you have already guessed that, okay, this is the base condition. So for recursion, the first thing we need a base condition that we already have. Okay. The second thing we have is the two things we have to do. So we have to either choose or, sorry, pick, right? Or do not pick. These are the two things that we have to do. So when we are picking it, what we are doing, we are increasing the index, then we are increasing the index on both the sides. And the other thing that we are doing is, while we are picking, it means that if we are picking, we are also including that in our XOR. So that our total sum, we will XOR these values, the current index value. Okay, I'll just say index for that. So here, if you see that, okay, what we are doing, if we are picking it, if we are picking, then we are XORing it. If we are picking, so we have picked it, that's why we XORed it. Because we picked it, we XORed it, right? The same way, if we picked it, we XORed it, we picked it, we XORed it. Okay. So this is the basic intuition of it. And let's jump into the coding part. So we'll simply define a function. I'll say that, okay, this is a helper function. It will have two things. If you remember, we'll have an index and also the total sum, right? Currently, I will pass it. And how are we gonna call it? We will start with our index 0. And what is the total sum for now? Initially, we started with 0, right? So we will start with 0 and 0. Okay. So now let's write our base condition. So in recursion, we need a base condition. So for what would be the base condition? So this is simple, that if index is equal to the length of our nums, then we will simply return the total sum. Okay, whatever we value have, we will simply return that. Whatever value we have, we will simply return that. Okay, 2, 4, like these, we will simply return it to a main function. So what is our main function? So our main function would be, first we will pick, and the second would be do not pick. So in the pick condition, we will say that, okay, helper, increase one index. So okay, increase that one index, and after that, in our total sum, XOR the current index value. Okay, right? Because if we are selecting it, we are XORing it. So this was supposedly 0, so we'll XOR it with 5. This 5 will XOR with this 1. Okay, whatever the value we have, this 4 will XOR with this 6. Right? The same way we'll do it here also. Right? So this is for the pick part. And if we do not pick, we'll still increase our index. But in this case, we won't add anything in our sum. This is the blank condition. So we are just returning the blank one. Right? So we can say that, okay, this is what we pick. This is do not pick. Okay. And in the end, what we have to do, we have to return the sum of all the values, right? The sum of all the values is 2 plus these values, blah, blah, blah. Okay. These all values. So if I'll show you here like these, so these values, we have to give the sum, this 5, 1, 6, these all the values, right? Pick and do not pick. I think this is the coding part of it. So let's just try to submit it. This is accepted and this is submitted, and it's pretty efficient, right? So let's talk about the time complexity of it. So the time complexity would be a lot. So like we are, for each element, so for each index, we are checking the value twice. So for this 2, so suppose for this 5, we are having two conditions, right? So I'll take it as like, suppose let's take as index. So this 0th index, first index and second index. how many options, choices? 2 choices. Then for that next index, again 2 choices. Then this 6 index, again 2 choices, but this will keep increasing. So if I go to the diagram, so here we have 2 choices for each index, right? 2 choices, and these choices are continuously increasing. See, these 2 choices, and after that, this will also have 2 choices. And if we have more elements, it will again have 2 choices. This will 2 choices, again 2 choices, 2 choices. Okay, so we can say that, okay, if we have like 3 elements, so for each level we'll have, so suppose for this one we'll have two choices, right? We'll start with 2 to the power 0 because that, okay, empty one we are also taking. Okay, anyways, we have 2 choices, and again we'll have 2 more choices. That would give us, okay, 4 choices, 2 more choices, and then we'll have for this we'll have 2 more choices, like 8 more choices, right? Because we'll state that 2 more choices, this will give us 4 choices, and this will give us 8 choices, right? So this is 2 to the power 3, right? So and so on. So we have 3 elements, we have then 2 to the power 3. So if we have n elements, it will give us 2 to the power n of time complexity, right? So the time complexity would be 2 to the power n. And we are not taking any space, so that space would be only big of 1, right? So this was the code and the time complexity of it. So I hope you have understood this question. So if you have any questions or any doubts, you can just drop it in the comment section. And thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye, take care.